It's being called a presidential gaffe by President Biden, and that's what came at the conclusion of his speech in Poland. And a lot of the speech was well received, but this was an unplanned statement at the end.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
Then the walkback was immediate. White House officials say the president's point was Putin cannot be allowed to exercise power over his neighbors. Antony Blinken, he should not be empowered to wage war or engage in aggression. But Peskov says from Russia, we're going to keep a really close eye on this to find out what the president actually meant.
You have to be consistent in the statements that you make, and you have to show American leadership. And when you have walkbacks, it makes the president and of the United States look weak, and that's the last thing we want to do.
Elections have consequences. Words have consequences. Even if you agreed with this guy not wanting to be in, not having this guy still in power, was that the place, and was that the way to handle this?
Right now we have a crisis in Ukraine, and our focus should be on helping Ukraine. What Joe Biden just did was make the goal defeating Russia. And that's a problem when it comes to, I would say, the incredible task of achieving that goal, as well as the fact that they are a nuclear power and have a permanent seat at the UN.
It gave Putin and the Russians, a message that they're going to use to their advantage. That, look, he's trying to take down your elected leader and all this kind of stuff. He gave them a PR, piece of equipment that they will use because of this.
If the message from the United States was supposed to be, hey, Putin, you need to go. You're acting like Hitler here. You're going into these countries and destroying civilians. You've got that kind of dilemma going here. If that's what he was trying to say, if that's what Biden was trying to say, then you wouldn't have the rollback. So the problem, again, is mixed messaging.
It's a terrible inconsistency, talking about responding in kind, talking about troops being there.
And that was in context of chemical weapons.
Talking about the things that you don't really intend to say, but later you have to have them taken back by people who are your subordinates. This all shows a failure of leadership.
Bob Gates famously said, Joe Biden's been wrong on every major foreign policy decision for 40 years. Now he's the president of the United States. So he's not the vice president anymore. He's not just the senator or the Foreign Relations Committee head. He is the president of the United States. This is, the mixed messaging here and the correcting is a daily thing. And we've got a real crisis in Ukraine, which is affecting all of Europe. And as you just said, when you got the head of state, the main communicator, if you will, of our government, our allies are nervous.
They're very nervous. And actually, some in Germany have started correcting this and saying that this is not making Europe safe when Joe Biden is talking about going after Putin and with regime change. Again, we need to emphasize that Russia is obviously the bad actor. Putin is the bad actor here. And morally, we can look at the situation and be cheering for Ukraine, of course. But we have to think about what's best for the United States in these situations. And somehow articulating that Russia's defeat is our goal. Our goal is to help Ukraine. Our goal is to stop this war, to stop the violence. And we should be doing it peacefully and diplomatically, and yet that's not what's happening.
Ironically, Jay, and this is part of what I talk about in my piece on the website, strong leadership that's clear and consistent. Consistency is important. That is the surest way to avoid war and conflict most of the time. A perception of weakness or that we're vacillating by our enemies actually invites aggression. To take a distinctive stand does not provoke a wider war in spite of the Biden administration's fear of provoking a wider war. We need consistency. We need conviction.
Joe Biden was talking to Vladimir Putin, and that is what's created the political stir. Even if you think Vladimir Putin should go, is that the role of the United States or NATO to do that? And the White House has made clear that's not.